Hi, this is Kirsten King from D30 Entertainment in collaboration with Pulse Media. Today we are downtown Columbus, Georgia, about to ask some random people how do they feel about some of the most controversial issues that is in the media today. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
Bab, Wayne Bab.
Alrighty. So with all of the things that's going on in the media today, one of the most controversial topics is the same-sex marriage. How do you feel about that?
Well, when you start talking about same-sex marriage, it was not God created man and woman. Same-sex marriage should have no place. I don't think it's something that we should be concerned about it for sure. But it's not something that God created. He created a man and a woman. He didn't create men to be with man or woman to be with woman. So I don't think it's something that we should embrace in our society at all. In fact, I think it's very bad for our children.
So with your strong Christian principles and beliefs in the Bible and God, how would you handle a person with the same-sex marriage that strongly believes in it?
Well, I would try to explain to them the reason why they were created. You were created by God to be a man, or you're created by God to be a woman. I would explain to them that it is not normal. It absolutely goes against nature, that a man to be with a man and a woman to be with a woman. In fact, the scripture specifically says that God created the man and the woman to be together in union. So it's one man and one woman. That's the basis for marriage, not a man and a woman and a woman. It just doesn't work. And so it's not normal. Okay, you ask me what I would say to someone who is involved with that relationship, I'd tell them it's not a normal behavior. It's just not normal.
How do you feel about the removal of the Confederate flag from all state buildings?
Based on the current situation in our nation and the killings that happen in South Carolina, I think it's a good thing. In fact, I know it's a good thing. I think that for a long time, the Confederate flag has stood for a symbol of racism and division. And I think that based on the scenarios that happen and the deaths and the killings, that the removal of the Confederate flag is a good thing.
Okay, so with the removal of the Confederate flag, what do you hope will happen for America?
I would hope that America will become a nation that doesn't see color. I would hope that crimes of hate would totally be erased. And I would hope that people of all color would now embrace each other, especially after the tragic incidences that happened and the deaths that happened in Charleston.
Alrighty, thank you so much for your comment.
You're welcome.
How do you feel about the most recent decision made by the Supreme Court in reference to same-sex marriage?
I think that's the biggest mistake they ever made on that decision there. Because, according to my Bible, my God that I believe in, you know what I'm saying? God meant for man and woman to be together, not for two men, not for two women, I think the world is becoming like Sodom and Gomorrah, you know what I'm saying? And I think that was one of the worst decisions they could have ever made in life.
Okay, so how do you feel about some of the businesses denying same-sex couples into their restaurants and place of business?
Well, I think they shouldn't do that, because to me that'll be discrimination, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of how they feel about, them certain people, you know what I'm saying? But I think they should be allowed in restaurants or any other place of business, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I just don't understand what the world is coming to today.
Of course, you guys know about the Supreme Court decision about gay marriage. How do you guys feel about that?
I feel there's a right to everyone to have their own kind of say, and you can't take it away from them.
That was well put, Brandon. I just feel like if it doesn't affect anyone in a harmful way, people should just be able to do whatever they want. So if it makes them happy to be able to marry each other, then fine, let's let them do it.
Right, so it basically doesn't bother you guys with the same-sex marriage decision?
No. I think it's just mean-spirited to keep people from doing what they want to do.
I second that. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Alrighty, thank you guys so much for your comment. How do you feel about Diallo Roof? Do you think he should have been labeled as a terrorist?
Absolutely. I think that any act of terror, the thing that he did was an act of terror. There's no if or but about it.
Do you think if he had been another race, he would be labeled differently?
Probably. I mean, it's really strange that if you look at all of the kinds of acts that like he's committed, like Columbine or Virginia Tech and things like that, they're all, young white males, heterosexual white males at that. So there has to be something. If you're going to talk about it being a race issue, we're looking at the wrong race. There's clearly a mental illness issue that needs to be addressed, and I don't think that there's enough information being spread about it. And I think that the idea that he was living in a state where the Confederate flag was freely flown, and it wasn't as an act of somebody pursuing heritage and trying to support their heritage. It was that flag was raised over the courthouse or the Capitol in 1961. That was the first time that it was raised. So that was used as a symbol to subjugate black people at the time.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for your comment. How do you feel about the removal of the Confederate flag?
Well, to be honest, just my personal opinion, I think there's out of everything that's going on in America right now, I think it's just a little thing. I know it's a big deal, but at the same time, I think because everyone's so against each other right now about everything that's going on, I think this is like the perfect time for people who can see that as a weakness, that we're not unified and can come in and do some real damage to us. So I think if it causes everyone to get closer, I'm all for it. Like if it causes us to be better together, then that's good.
How do you feel about the Supreme Court decision in reference to same-sex marriage?
I feel that equality is something that has been strived for from everyone, whether African Americans, Jewish Americans, everyone has been fighting for equality. So having same-sex marriage is just fall in the same category. Everybody wants to be treated the same, and that's the gist of it. So.
Alrighty. And in addition to same-sex marriage, there are a lot of controversial topics that is in the media right now. The Confederate battle flag is one of those. How do you feel about the removal of the flag?
I feel that people use symbols to kind of motivate themselves and have something to believe in. Excuse me. And the Confederate flag is a symbol, and it symbolizes something that's negative, just like the derogatory word for nigger. I mean, people use that word and it's still derogatory, even though African Americans use that word as a term of endearment sometimes, or a term that's used by us as something that says that we're good friends or whatnot. It's still a symbol, and a lot of people, whether African Americans or Caucasian Americans, still feel that symbol is negative. So the removal should happen, I think.
Alrighty, thank you so much for your comment, sir. You're welcome. What's your name?
My name's Tony.
All right, Tony, how do you feel about the Supreme Court decision in reference to gay marriage, same-sex marriage?
Honestly, I guess it doesn't really affect me because I'm not I don't do same-sex, but I understand that people want to have a way to care for the one that they love, to be able to handle things if they're in the hospital or if they pass away, be able to handle that. So I understand that side. Me personally, I'm not for it, but at the same time, I understand that people need to take care of things, their loved ones. So.
Right. How do you feel about some businesses not allowing same-sex couples into their place of business?
I do think that's a little extreme. I understand because of religious reasons some people don't want to do that, but at the same time, a customer is a customer, and especially if they love your business and they want to spend money there, I think they should be welcome there,
Alrighty, thank you so much for your honest opinion. You have it, Pulse Media in collaboration with D30, The Heartbeat. The people have spoken, and they have gave their concern and their opinions in reference to some of the most controversial topics that are in the media today. Make sure that you follow us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pulse Media, and also follow me at Kirsten D30.